Yeah, what up guys? Rago here from MACkite. So today I'm gonna do another review on the Ride Engine Carbon Elite harness. And before I dive into this, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you want to know about harnesses? I've done quite a few harness reviews now, and I feel like I've touched on most of the points that one could touch on, and I'm actually genuinely curious on what kind of questions you might have about harnesses. So help me out here so I can help you by making better videos. Let me know in the comments here what you're looking for, what kind of information you want to know with harnesses. I'll consider that for future reviews. I may even come back and do another review on this one, or I'll hit you in the comments. So getting into this review. This is a harness that I know really well because last year I was doing a lot of testing back and forth with the Mystic lineup, with everything in the Ride Engine range, and I think actually my last Ride Engine review for the Carbon Elite, last gen of course, came out super late, was only like 5 months ago or something like that. But I do have the new one. I did get out and I was trying to find new angles and things to talk about with this harness. So just to kind of summarize some of the things that I felt were good, the Ride Engine Carbon Elite is a super stiff, super supportive harness, and that was the most standout thing for me, is this harness provided so much support for my back. And as well, it's an incredibly plush harness. And don't worry guys, I will come back around and talk about some cons and be objective about it. But just going with the pros of this harness right now, this is probably the most comfortable you can get as far as something where you're going out without a rash guard. You just want something very plush and soft on the body and incredibly supportive. Now, one thing that I think is important with not even just this harness, all hard shells in general, is the fit. And I actually made a point in my last video that I feel that all hard shells, to a fault, they feel the same. And to elaborate further, what I actually meant was, if you have a properly fitted hard shell harness, you really shouldn't even notice that it's there. And sometimes there are some people where a hard shell is not a good fit for. But I think there's this interesting category where if you have the wrong size harness, or if you're not tightening that thing down tight enough, it is going to be uncomfortable. And coming back around to their ladder lock system, one thing that I really do like about the Ride Engine harnesses is they make it so easy to get a good snug fit, and that's just so important. And I've known some people who, some females for example actually, where if you're just really tiny, you just have a really small waist, it is easier for a harness to ride up, and you absolutely have to have the right size, and you need to get that snug. But I do acknowledge there are some people where something like the Momentum harness or soft shell harness is still a good fit, and I am a really big fan of the Momentum harness. I actually almost opted for that harness 2 years ago, a year and a half ago when I first got one, because it was this kind of interesting hybrid feel where it was very supportive yet very pliable. But I'm going on a tangent here. So what I'm getting here is, if you have tried a hard shell and you've dismissed them in the past, maybe give it a go again, make sure you have a good fit. Now with all that said, trying to find new angles with this video, one thing I've noticed with all hard shell harnesses, again, not just this one, but if you do have that misfit, they all create interesting pressure points, and this is going to come down to the harness you're using in your specific shape. So for example, for me, some hard shells, if I wear them super loose, I'll feel a little pressure on my lower back. With this particular one, with the Ride Engine Carbon Elite, I will feel it right along here. I'll get a little bit of riding up in here from the harness, not actually the spreader bar, but the harness itself. And then sometimes if I'm spinning really hard as well, I'll feel it along my upper back. So it's just that ridge there. But again, this only happens if I'm lazy and I don't lock it down. It's too stupid easy to get it locked down because you have that ladder lock system where you can get a perfect fit every time. Just make sure it's a good fit, and that won't happen, but that is a consideration. So again, coming back around to the ill-fitting harness, if it is riding up or if it doesn't feel good, it's likely because you have the wrong size or because you didn't lock it down tight enough. And in the theme of trying to keep these reviews as authentic as possible, one thing that I have noticed in recent years is everybody seems to be on the hard shell train, and I do want to put it out there that I'm actually not against soft shell harnesses. I think there is a time and a place for somebody to wear a soft shell harness. So I mentioned, if you happen to be one of those few people where you can't find a good fit with a hard shell harness, you're gonna wanna go with a soft shell. So if you're somebody where it always rides up, for example, you're gonna wanna opt for like a seat harness or just a well-fitted soft shell harness. If you're somebody who wants something extremely lightweight and pliable and that completely moves with you, surfers, for example. I know a lot of wave riders who actually do still prefer soft shell harnesses, and actually talking with some of the ride engine team, they were actually really excited to have the Momentum harness because it had all that torsional flex, had all that give, and was a really good option for the wave riders and foilers as well. I suppose if you're in the wave category, that certainly also fits into the foil category, although I know a lot of foil riders who are opting for, although I do know a lot of foil riders who are opting for the hard shell, so maybe that doesn't matter as much. I think it's really more specifically surfers in general who want something very simple that they can just fold over and toss into their travel bag when they're going to whatever country to go surfing or whatever. And as well, the benefits that they're reaping when they're on the waves and they're just kind of getting loosey-goosey, and it's kind of a little bit of a different sport when you're doing wave riding, I suppose. So they just like having that ability to move and not having as much support, as opposed to somebody who's doing big air freestyle where you're a bit more locked in and then you're springing into action. So hey, if you guys have any questions on the Ride Engine Carbon Elite, or actually any of the ride engines, any of the Mystics, those are the two hard shell brands that I know the most personally, and some of the other guys at the shop are testing some of the newer interesting brands that we have coming in, like Monera. But if you have any questions on any of them, let us know in the comment section. If you found the video helpful, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and as well, let me know what you'd like to know on harness reviews in the future. Harness reviews are a little harder for me because I don't really think there's too much to talk about them. We've done a lot of videos on them now, and I feel like I've hit every point that I needed to hit. So if you can think of anything interesting or anything useful in a harness video, let me know. I love that feedback for the next video. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.